Look at what we got here. That silly penguin is back again.
No, Mr. Madison, they're not penguin. You got too much sun today. They're no penguin.
It's too hot for a penguin to be just walking around here.
Hey guys, the Pro Pilot. Gonna be doing an evaporator core, expansion valve, condenser, dryer, and air compressor. I guess compressor job on the Supra today. The issue that I've had with my car has been intermittent loss of air conditioning. So what's apparently happened, last year I had to replace all my hardlines because they rusted out. And when you get that, when it fails and you get moisture into your system, my hardlines had rusted from a rusty bracket. So all the moisture and everything from ambient got into those lines, and when it gets into the dryer, it messes up the material, the decadent or whatever this desiccant or whatever the stuff is called. That stuff breaks down, and then it goes through your condenser, through your hard lines, into your expansion valve and clogs it up. And it only happens after a few minutes of the fluid working its way into the expansion valve. So what we got to do today, I'm redoing the intro to this video because it's gone from being just an expansion valve and evaporator job to now being everything. So got the core out. This is the old one here, and the new one will be going in. This is the new one here, and once everything's in from Toyota, it'll be I'll have to clean out the lines. So what I've got to do now is remove my radiator. I've already got the dash apart. You'll see that part in the video. It's coming up. I got to take the radiator out with the electric fans. Those are IS300 fans with the powerhouse IS300 fan shroud. And I need to do that in order to be able to get to these bolts and to the condenser so I can tilt it back and pull it out, hopefully without taking my intercooler, bumper, headlights, and everything out of my car. So the first thing you got to do is pull the glove box, and so you're going to take the 2 screws out up here and then 2 10s down below. This is that evil, evil, evil foam that Supra owners can all tell you pelts you in the eyes when you're driving your car. Usually happens mid-boost. So what I'm also going to be doing is replacing that with new foam. So now what we got to do is we're going to need to disconnect these 2 10mm bolts, and that's going to, we already had it vacuumed out, but they're saying that there could still be a little bit of pressure in the system just from driving it and all that. So that's what's next. I'm not going to be able to video that, but you'll basically it's potentially going to evacuate a little bit of stuff that way. And then back on the other side, I'm going to pull the expansion valve out, and then we're going to blow the lines off, blow the lines out. You need to take this little ducty duct out, which also has truckloads of bad foam in it. So got the condenser, or excuse me, the evaporator out. It's got a lot of crud on it, but it actually looks like it's in pretty good shape. Not a whole lot of bent fins. A couple here, that's not going to affect it at all. Here's what's interesting. Look at all that foam. Yum, 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 yum. So, time to get the shop vac. I don't know if you can really see it very well. Do you see the black spots? That is what has gone all through my system. That is what I got to get rid of. I actually can't see without using the phone. Technology for the win. Do you have to do this? Which you probably do. You'll see what I mean. You physically cannot see inside this box. I don't know. I suppose unless you wanted to stick your head in there, I'll pass. Use the cell phone. Gotta vacuum all this out too. And here I'm wondering why I'm getting freaking pelted with foam whenever I drive my car. Oh, I'm sure this is part of it. That stuff is the devil. All right. So now we've got the tar paper on. I had to take the expansion valve back off. You wrap the whole thing, no big deal, piece of cake, Toyota sells it. And then I threw the new thermistor on that basically watches for the core to freeze. Now it's time to stick this bad boy back in and hopefully get it all hooked up with no problemos. So, disconnected the upper pipe, disconnected the lower pipe down below, about to plug the bottom, hopefully pop this puppy out. So I'm at a stopping point with the AC system install, and I'm going to just go over everything that I've done, because some of the things that I've gone and done here simply can't be videoed while I do it. So here's the old expansion valve and condenser. As you can see, the condenser was honestly, it was in pretty bad shape. That's a good third of it is just completely trashed. So probably from going through like a car wash or something, and the high pressure just folded the old brittle fins over. So I removed the dryer. It's a 10mm bolt. You do that after you take these hard lines off. I'll show you everything over here. So there's a couple bolts there, 2 bolts here, and a bracket. And let's go over see the new part. This is the expansion valve here. It's very simple. My bolts were frozen. And yeah, so that's another subject. I'll go over that here in just a minute. So here's the new system. It's all OEM Denso. Brand new Denso dryer. Has 2 bolts here. Okay, these are 10mm. You crack these free, then you crack this one free, and then you come over here down to the bottom, and there's a bolt that goes through, and you crack that one free. This is just to keep everything sealed up for right now. So right now that's the sealing point of all of this. So here's your sight gauge. Everything comes off of the old condenser. Mine was in still pretty good shape. I went ahead and did some WD-40 on these 2 bolts here. And once you've got the hard lines removed from the dryer, then you could come over here and crack this nut, this bolt here, and then this one here. This one holds the strap. This one holds the strap in place. So once you've gotten all the old stuff that you need off of the old condenser, and you start swapping it all in, you're going to put your bracket on, you leave it loose, put the hard line on, leave it loose, put this hard line on, you can tighten it up, and you attach it to the bracket that's down here. It's kind of a tricky thing it's got like little snaps that it snaps into. Okay, and then from there, notice I've got it all on the foam, so really be careful. This thing, look at this core. I mean, it is just perfect. I think I see 1 fin, so that's been damaged. So I mean, really want to try to my best to keep this as nice as I can. A few little bumps here or there, it's not going to hurt anything. So you're going to put 0.7 fluid ounces, 20 milliliters, I believe it is, into the dryer. And you're going to put that, this is the oil, PAG 46 oil, is what the Toyotas call for, and you're going to put it into the out. So I believe this is the out. There's a little here we go. This is the little thing that came off of it. Let's see here. It has an arrow that points to the out. So what I did was I got a 1 milliliter, a half of a milliliter measuring cup. Just went ahead and signed it off and threw it out. So I mean, I put it in there, and good to go. And then make sure you keep it upright from there, so it doesn't drain out the dryer and start trickling down the lines. This is intended to stay upright. From there, show you everything in here, what this looks like when you've got your radiator and condenser out. There's the return line, excuse me, the feed line. The return's up here, and yeah, so you've got your 2 hard lines down here. Put new O-rings on everything, by the way. AutoZone or any of the parts stores sell the O-ring kits, and they're made for all oils, so you can use any of the oils. Thankfully, this hard line here, this is actually the hard line that went out right here. This bracket rusted on my original, and that caused contamination to get into the lines, and it caused my dryer to fail once it got moisture into the dryer. So what I did, I went behind my dash where I could get to these lines. You can see I've got my compressed air, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to show you this. There we go. So I took each line and I sprayed brake cleaner into them, and then I took compressed air and I blew them out. And The narrow line is the line that had the majority of the garbage come out of it, and that all came out right down here, okay? The thick line, this is the line that goes to the compressor. So you can see right here, tees off, and then it goes that way to the compressor. It's kind of hard to see. There we go. Yeah, it goes to the compressor from there. So I disconnected that connection. Make sure you get the right one, because there's two of them right beside each other. I got those two I got that one disconnected. I wrapped a paper towel around it. Then I took my compressed air and I blew it out. It was a pretty tremendous amount of stuff that came out of there. So I'm really, really happy with this so far. So while I was at it, I also took this opportunity to make an installation point a little bit better than what it used to be. So I absolutely love my Powerhouse Racing shroud. I love my IS300 fans. Okay, they are amazing. But, and this isn't a but on the shroud and the fan, there's a little gap that had always been there. And what I did was I got some of the neoprene tape, and I cut it to exactly the size and the shape that I needed to get, and it is pressed into place now by the shroud, and there's no more air gap. Even the factory does this. There's no more air gap here now, as you can see right there. It's a little bit of foam hanging over. That'll be fine. So this foam is made for very high temperature, and I'm hoping it works. If it doesn't, and it starts to break down, I'm hoping I'll notice that, and at least the radiator shroud is pretty easy to take out. You just slide it out. So anyways, guys, the next thing that I've got to do here is put the condenser, and this is a very sketchy moment for this job. I'm going to have to protect the front side, and you've got to set this down on these little posts, these little rubber stands, and then you bolt these in. Okay, and those are 10 millimeters as well. It basically goes in exactly like the radiator does. It has bolts that hold it in, and then little stands that hold it upright. Those holes right there, and those are the radiator stands. Okay, so I'm gonna have to get it over here. The complication is my intercooler. And getting my hard lines to snake in there, this is going to get really interesting.